Well, welcome everybody. It is such a joy to be here with you today and welcome you all to a webinar which we're calling The Mysteries of the Cerebellum. And boy, do we have some great information to share with you today. And I hope you've got a pen and paper. You're going to want to take a few notes. But before we get into the meat and potatoes, so to speak, of what we're going to talk about, let me introduce myself. My name is Sue Ellen Dickinson, and I will be your host here for, well, the next hour or so. Also, we will be taking your questions after the formal presentation by Dr. Cartwright. So be sure and have your questions at hand and at the ready, along with your pencil, pen, and paper, because like I said, there's some great information. This is really groundbreaking information that we're going to bring to you today. And for those of you listening who've been participants in our webinars in the past, you know that Dr. Rudy Cartwright always brings you groundbreaking information. He's ahead of the curve. He's ahead of his time, believe me. He is right there at the tip of the spear of this information. And this is, again, some very valuable information that applies to you. You're going to want to know about this. You're going to want to apply this to your life. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be connecting the dots, so to speak, with a lot of things that we are doing in terms of not only mysteries of the cerebellum, but also with Heart Talk. We're going to tell you what that's all about, and something really groundbreaking called the MS Challenge. And we're going to really get into all that. We're going to tie it together and connect the dots so you can get the bigger picture of what we're doing to see improvements in the lives of people with MS, just like you. So anyway, kick back and relax. Turn up the volume on your headset, phone, computer, whatever you're listening on, because we have a great program ahead for you. So without any further ado, let me introduce to you Dr. Rudy Cartwright, who is a brain surgeon. That's a neurosurgeon. He is also an expert in multiple sclerosis. And Dr. Cartwright, I know you're there in the wings, so come on out on center stage here. Take over the mic and let me introduce you to the world. Dr. Rudy Cartwright.
Hi, Sue Ellen, and to all your group out there. I am Dr. Rudy Cartwright, and I am a retired neurosurgeon. And I've been looking at and studying MS for about, 18 to 19 years. But be that as it may, let me say this. I got to tell you guys this. This webinar is all about you. And you deserve the best there is to offer. That is why I bring to you scientifically associated information that can enable you to improve your well-being, your body, your mind, and your spirit. So at the top of each slide, I give you the source of the information. I'll give you the title, the authors, and the institution. Sometimes I leave that out because of the space that's being used. But the important thing is I bring you a main point of the article so that you can go and look up these articles on your own, study them, and apply it to your life. Now, the mysteries of the cerebellum. How did that come about? Well, let me just tell you this. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, Sue Ellen gave me a call and asked if I would stand in for her on her MS challenge group because she had to take her pet to the vet. And I said, yes, Sue Ellen, I would be happy to, but I don't know what what buttons to push and what have you. She says, okay, I'll run those through you. So she did that, and then the following day, I logged on, and some of her people showed up. And I said, look, I don't know what you guys do or what Sue Ellen does, but whatever you do, uh, we'll record what you say. And so just, give her the information that you would normally give if she were here. And that's what they did. And I just sat there and listened. And then it occurred to me to ask if they would mind telling me how they were doing after being, with the MS challenge. And they did. I was astounded. And I told Sue Ellen, you need to go out and listen to what they had to say when you weren't around. And she did. And I said, I think we ought to give a webinar on what they said. But the important thing is, I said, I can tie this in with the cerebellum. And she said, let me think about it. And I let her think about it for 5 days. And I called her back. I said, what do you think? And she said, well, I looked at those papers you sent me, and why don't we call it the mystery of the cerebellum? And I said, what? And so here we are today, talking about the mysteries of the cerebellum.
And if I can just interject something, Dr. Cartwright, I was fascinated with those papers and these were research papers. They are, I guess, in circles, some scientific circles, they call them white papers. And I was so privileged to have the ability that you gave me to read those white papers. And I was astonished at the information in there because it clearly connects, the way I saw it, connects the cerebellum to the fact that our folks in the MS Challenge team are improving. They are. It made sense to me. The light bulb went on, it clicked. And you're right, here we are. Sorry to interrupt.
So anyway, I said, okay, I'll do it. And I did it. And as I said, I called her back and said, you ought to give a webinar on this and I'll help her. And here we are. But the important thing about the mysteries of the cerebellum, which means small brain, and this little brain of ours has its hands in everything that we do. Everything. And I was astonished with that because in the times past, we were always told that the only thing that the cerebellum does is make sure that it is involved with your motor control, i.e. walking, muscle control, keeping your balance, and things like that. And I was shocked to find out the importance of this structure more than with muscle control. And there's a reason. This little brain has 69 billion nerve cells in it. And the big brain, i.e. the cerebrum, only has 16 billion. Why is that? Why is that? And that's one of the mysteries of the cerebellum. Look how many cells, nerve cells that it has. Now, so I started to actually search my archives, and I found some articles that talked about the cerebellum. And this first article says the cerebellum is not only involved in motor control, but motor memory and learning and coordination, but also it is involved with cognitive functions. What are they talking about? Cognitive function. Well, cognition refers to all of the mental activities associated with thinking, knowing, remembering, communicating, and navigating. How you get about in your home and outside your home. And I thought, really? And then the cerebellum, as indicated by this second article here, it has significant influence on visual and auditory processes and your response to potentially harmful or harmful stimuli. So if you see something that's blazing with fire, your cerebellum is telling you don't go close to that, and you may start to move back and what have you. The cerebellum is involved in that process. Now, motor cognition, i.e., muscle memory. What is it? And is the cerebellum involved? And this article says motor memory is understanding our own environment and movement and how we move about in the world. It says the cerebellum is involved in it. And of course, in the second article, the cerebellum is involved in cognitive and language functions. If you have the ability to speak two languages or just one language or more, the cerebellum is involved in that language process. They don't get around it. This is what their research shows. Of course, this is all sophisticated research that they use, but this is what it shows. So, how does this little guy get to be involved in everything that we do? Well, it sends fiber tracts to the cerebrum, the big part of the brain. That's called cerebral cerebellum. And it sends fiber tracts to the vestibular system, that thing, part of your ear piece that allows you to keep oriented in space. And then there's the spinal cerebellum system that sends fiber tracts down to the spinal cord. And guess what? Cerebellar injury occurs in multiple sclerosis. And when they say injury, what they're saying is there are some things out there that will affect the cerebellum's its functioning properly, like oxidative stress, like not getting enough supply or decreased blood supply to an area, and so forth and so on. That cerebellum is involved with MS, especially inflammation. So, what about these symptoms that we have in MS? And when I first read this article a couple of years back, I looked at cognitive problems, sleep problems, fatigue, headache, weakness, tremor, and spasticity of the upper extremities, urinary symptoms, bowel and bladder symptoms, weakness and spasticity involving your legs. I know, why they put all this in there? Now I know, especially with cognition, because that cerebellum is involved in the process of keeping you healthy, mind, body, and spirit. And Ms. Dickinson,
Yes, sir.
we're going to have you speak to your Heart Talk MS Challenge group.
Absolutely, because it ties in, believe it or not, with everything that you've been talking about, Dr. Cartwright. I know you know that, but for folks who may be hearing this for the first time, you've made a couple of references to the body, mind, and spirit, and that trilogy is so important. I think over time we've forgotten that, maybe, as a people, as culture. We don't really incorporate that concept, if you will, or that practice into everyday life the way I think it should be practiced. And yet you make those references. So on the one hand, I think what we hear a lot of this great information, but from other sources, but it stops there. And I think you all would agree with me. Whereas what we have done with Heart Talk and the MS Challenge team, and I'm going to explain all that to you just in a second, we've taken it a step further. We've taken it all the way, actually, because not only do we incorporate this amazing information, that, like what Dr. Cartwright has just shared with you, but also we take it a step further by incorporating the whole person, the body, the mind, and the spirit. And my gosh, Dr. Cartwright, we could go on and on. You and I have talked about this privately as an aside, many times, and we could actually do an entire program on that, which we won't do today. But I want to really just tell you how important it really is, because we have the body, right? We have the mind, and of course we have the spirit. And they all work together. And all three happen to live, for the time being, in our physical bodies. And yet we don't really apply the power or the force, or consider the source, may I say, of the mind and the spirit as much in our everyday lives as perhaps we should, especially when the body is a little lacking, shall we say, and has symptoms of this thing we call multiple sclerosis. It all works together. And so what we've done about it are two things. We have created a program, a literal program called Heart Talk. Now, Heart Talk is basically a phone call, which we hold once a week for anybody who care to join us. Whether it's people with MS, just like you, or maybe you want to invite friends or family to help educate them a little bit. Share some insider information and knowledge to really kind of teach them, show them perhaps what really life is like by having MS. And we talk about all sorts of things when we talk about what you want to talk about too. But really, where we go with this is talking about some of the hard stuff, some of the harder topics. I call them forbidden topics, or third rail topics. You can call them anything you want. But, things that, subject matters that maybe aren't talked about a lot, because we really get down to the nitty gritty and talk about what's happening in your life, what brought you to that point. How are you feeling? How is that affecting your relationships, whether it's in a marriage or with family members, children, at work? How's it affecting your life? What are these changes that's going on? How does that affect you emotionally and physically? And most important of all, what's it doing to your mind? We know what it's doing to your body, because we talk about that all the time. But what is it doing to your mind? And how can we help you? How can we help you change that? How can we help you improve that? And by doing so, and by answering the questions collectively on these wonderful Heart Talk calls, and individually on these Heart Talk calls, how does this affect you? And I will tell you this, that a lot of people tune in every week, every Tuesday morning, to our wonderful Heart Talk call. I send the replay out as soon as we're done, and it is listened to other people who don't have the time or whatever to be on the call live with us every Tuesday morning. But I'm here to tell you that we are listened to by people with MS worldwide. And I am so thankful, I am so grateful to all of you who do that and who support our Heart Talk call by sending your emails, by sending your thoughts and your questions and your communications back to me, and which I relay back to the group. But it is a wonderful sense of camaraderie. It's a wonderful sense of community. In fact, it's more than that, because everybody on these Heart Talk calls, everybody, without exception, says we're a family, and we are. And we've become a family, not just a, quote, support group, which is great, okay, but we take it a step further, and that is by actually, sharing these really deep subjects, what's really bothering us, what's really happening in our lives, we share with each other and we reach out to each other. And it is through this amazing body, mind, and spirit connection that we really raise the bar, I think, on where we take Heart Talk. So, having said that, I'm going to tell you about the next step. But first, you'll be receiving an email from me. You always do. But I've always got the phone number in there and the times for our Heart Talk call. And if you are new to this and you are not on my mailing list or in my database, do this so that you can get on my list. Go to my website, which is simply www.nomorms.com. That's nomorms.com. Scroll down a wee bit and you will see where you put in your name and your email address and click to subscribe. You can do that, okay? And that will put you automatically on my list, and you will get all the information that you need and the important information on Heart Talk that you need to know. And so that's how you get to join us. And if you can't be with us live, which we'd love, you will get the replay link every week so that you can listen to that and get this wonderful information and still connect up and back with other people in our MS family just like you. And I know you're going to love it. But we've taken all this to an even greater level. And we have formed what we call the MS Challenge Team. And you're probably saying, okay, what is that? Well, the MS Challenge Team is really kind of a leg up from our Heart Talk calls. Not better than in any way, shape, or form, but we get a lot more personal. Because on these calls, which, by the way, is overseen by our very own Dr. Rudy Cartwright, but we really get more involved in your individual life with what is going on with you. We track your symptoms in great detail every week. Again, we meet once a week by phone, and we really get to know you, and you get to know us a lot better on a very personal level. And we track, like I say, we record and track all the data that's going on with you, with your symptoms. We set goals, short-term and long-term goals. And I'm here to tell you that many of the people that have been on our MS Challenge Team have set short-term goals, which they have met successfully, and some of the long-term goals have been set and met already. And it's a beautiful thing. It's an amazing thing. And I marvel at it every time we get together once a week on our MS Challenge Team. Now, there are requirements to join. And the basic requirement is, and we're going to be getting to this shortly in this presentation, Dr. Cartwright's going to go over what it is, but I'll tell you in advance, there are requirements that you need to subscribe to his products. And because this is, I firmly believe that this is what is helping people to make improvements in their lives in general. And if you want to send me an email to know more about that and how you can become a member of the MS Challenge Team, and you need to make a commitment, I'm going to tell you straight up front. You need to subscribe to the products for a minimum of 6 months. And if you're interested in that, here's my email address, SueEllenDickinson@gmail.com. I'll spell that quickly, SueEllenDickinson@gmail.com. Send me an email, include your phone number if you live within the Canada or the United States, and I will be more than happy to call you, or we can do it via Skype or however you choose. But I would love to get with you and visit with you on a one-to-one basis. So if that is of interest to you, if you are interested in knowing more about how these wonderful people in our MS Challenge Team group are making improvements in their daily lives, I would love to get with you. And like I say, get with you on a one-to-one basis so you can hear more about it. But it's something that is working, and I believe it is all based around what we're talking about here today, around the body, the mind, and the spirit. And with that, Dr. Cartwright, let me turn it back to you. But before we do, I almost forgot. I'll talk the ear off a tin donkey if you let me. But I almost forgot. We have a clip of one of the members of our MS Challenge team. Her name is Toretta, and I would love us to play that right now. Can we do that, Dr. Cartwright? Dr. Cartwright, are you there?
I'm here.
We do not have live feed. We did
I
not hear
I
any audio from Toretta.
I don't understand why, because currently I'm looking at all the dials and the buttons and everything is where it's supposed to be,
Sure.
and I don't understand why it switched to a different headset.
I
Anyway,
could answer. But listen. She is on the call. She is in the question and
oh,
answer box right now. So if I can't do it from here, or I don't know how, do you have a way to either unmute the microphone or
okay,
let
let
everybody
me
go live?
see.
Because I would love.
Let
She's willing to come on and give us a commentary right
Oh, she
now.
is. Okay, let me
She's
see.
here with us live.
If I can unmute everybody.
If you can do that, it'd be great. All right, everybody stand by.
Let's see. Okay.
Yeah. You've got
Boy,
the main control
that's
panel.
interesting how they updated me, right? Let's see here. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to, let's see.
This is
Okay,
live radio, everybody.
it's live, but
Oh,
now this thing has me, uh, let me see if I can just, oh, there Toretta is. Let's see, she's raising her hand.
Yep, there
So,
she is. You've got that control. I do not.
okay, Toretta,
Hello.
we can hear you.
Awesome.
Okay, great. Hi, everybody.
Toretta, thank you so much. If you could pick up where we left off and give us a brief testimony, maybe 2 minutes, or I should say commentary, about, what you have to say about the MS Challenge team, because we want people to hear what you have to say. Go ahead. I'm giving you the floor for 2 minutes.
Okay, my name is Toretta Downs, and I'm from Stanford, Texas. Just kind of give everybody a background. I'm 43 years old. I joined the MS Challenge group a little over a year ago. And when I tell you guys, just to let you know, everybody works differently. Our bodies are designed differently. So what may happen to me may not happen to you in the time frame. But I also got a little bit extra to add to that. Okay, guys, I started the MS Challenge group. And how I started was I had a dream I was running one day, and I hadn't been able to run in some time now because I was diagnosed in 2011, physically by the doctor, but I've probably had it longer than that, ever since I had my first child, and he's 19 now. And, well, anyways, to start off, I had a dream I was running, and I knew I couldn't run. So when I woke up, I'm like feeling so good. And I checked my emails, and there it is, an email saying there's a heart talk call started at 10 o'clock, and call this number and put the access code in. So I'm like, you know what? I've been receiving these emails, and I've just been ignoring them, didn't know who it was. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call. It was 10:06 a.m. I called, and I told them who I was, and they were happy to have me, welcome me, And we're talking on the phone, and I have to just tell them my story because it's like, God, thank you for everything. I woke up and I called this number, and I just have to tell them what happened to me, and so they welcomed me in and told me, make sure I call back next week and so forth or another. And it's called Heart Talk. And we're on the phone about an hour each week on Tuesday. So if you are in a different time zone, I'm giving you 10 Central time zone. So if it's Pacific, you're on a little bit earlier than us, but it's a 10 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time for me. But however, guys, in that first year, before I started taking the supplements, I went to my cousin's football game. And I kid you not, it was their homecoming, and I'm walking around, I took my normal, meds that I'm supposed to take or whatever. But after so long, we walked for so long and so far, I know at least 3 miles or so. Oh my God, I'm a fast walker already. And here I am, I'm slowing down, and my whole right side is just like going so weak, and I didn't know what was going on. I thought it was a relapse. And my family was with me, and they actually got ahead of me versus where I had them way behind me, and they're like, slow down, you walk too fast, we can't keep up. Well, it was me instead. And so my cousin turned around and she said, "Are you okay?" And she ran back toward me and helped me. And she said, "We got to get you a ride." So they did. We got back to where, the apartment and everything. And she was like, "You don't need to do anything. You need to rest. What's going on? Call your mom, da-da-da." Well, that's the worst thing to ever do, is tell me to call my mom, but I did. And so what happened was my mom told me I was never going anywhere. And I called my doctor and everything when I got back home and everything on Monday. And I told him, "I think I'm relapsing. I don't know what happened to me, but I seem to be okay now, but I'm still having problems." So they sent me out for an MRI, of course. Well, anyway, to make a long story short, we go to the next year, and I've joined the MS Challenge program, guys, and I started taking the supplements, and it's More Logic, Essentials, and Heat and Sink Lotion. And my God, guys, when I was on the call, we come, together every Friday morning, and we talk, and this is just for the group. And you are at a commitment for 6 months, and the thing about it is I didn't stop at 6 months. I kept on. But before a time frame, guys, before 6 months, here it is. I'm feeling so much better, doing some things that I shouldn't have been doing, but I'm able to do. And so we get on there, and I'm telling about how my week went and my temperatures for morning and evening. Everything is, really good for me. Well, guys, the next year comes around, same thing, another homecoming. And so I called Sue Ellen, and I told her, "I'm going out of town. Pray for me, because this is a time where we got to do all this walking around and so forth or another, and I don't know." And I said, "And guess what? I'm driving." And she was asking me how long it was, and I said 4.5 hours. She was like, "Okay, be careful." And I said, "I will." And so I went up there, I drove, and here I am, emailing her, telling her I'm here, and this and that, and so forth and another. Guys, I didn't have a single problem. Everybody's like, "Are you okay? You need rest?" I said, "No, I'm fine." I just had the energy, and I could keep going. Well, long story short, when I got on my calls, they wanted to all know what happened. And all I could tell them was wonderful things, because when I got on the supplements, it changed my life within no time for being able to do the things that I do now. And the one thing I want to tell everybody is that a lot of us are in different stages or situations, but don't let that bother you. Because, guys, when I went in, I was like a really bad case. I was in a wheelchair in 2014 because I had relapsed, but I hadn't started taking the supplements at this time. I haven't had a relapse at all. I just came from the doctor yesterday, and I'm asking her, "Do you see anything going on with my MS?" And she said, "No, there's nothing going on with your MS. You're fine with your MS." I'm like, wow, guys, I'm out that wheelchair. I went through rehab, walking and all that stuff again. Had home therapy, and it was like I couldn't drive. I couldn't do anything. Everything I had to be taken care of. And I didn't like that. And the day that my son came to me and said, "Mom, is this you forever in that wheelchair?" I said, "Well, I'm getting older." Those are the words I told him.
Oh,
And
Toretta, you have made absolutely huge strides. And I know,
yes.
I know we followed you from day one, just like you were telling us. And we remember when you first joined the MS Challenge group. And gosh, that's just an amazing story. And I'm going to have to get with you later to find out how that doctor's appointment went. But you see, everybody, I'll call you or we'll email privately. But I want everybody to know you can sense how close we get with everybody. We really take an interest in your lives.
Yes.
Don't we, Toretta? Yeah, and we are a family, aren't we? We're the MS family.
We are a family. If
we are.
you don't feel like you have enough family support, please come join us on our Heart Talk call.
Oh, we would love it.
Your way to the MS Challenge. We love you. We're there for you. And I'm going to tell you, these guys have tremendously been there for me. I have been through a lot myself, and everybody that's on the call knows. I've had a lot of death in my family, and we're not talking about just one here and one there. No, they were coming back to back, and they were so supportive. They wanted to be here for me and everything. And the one thing I did want to add, guys, I couldn't wear high heels when I found out I had MS. I wasn't allowed. I couldn't do it. I couldn't make it in it. Guys, I'm back in my heels. It's taking me time. It's taking me baby steps. But I'm wearing my heels and I'm dancing.
She is, and I know that because of the pictures she sends me. Toretta, we've got to move on. We've got to move on. I am so sorry. I would, we could do a whole webinar, on you and the other family members we've got. But we got to move on. Dr. Cartwright's still got some really important information we've got to get out there. But thank you for coming on and sharing your commentary, sharing your story, because we just love you very much. And boy, I want to hear the latest. So I'll be getting with you a little bit later on today, okay? And trust me, everybody, I've seen the pictures of her in those high heels. She's back in her heels. I'm loving every minute of it. All right. Well, there she goes, Toretta Downs from Texas, and one of our MS family members and a proud member of our MS Challenge team. And before I turn it back over to Dr. Cartwright, just as a reminder, if you are not on the mailing list to receive the information about the MS Challenge team, about the Heart Talk call, which we hold every week, please go to my website and sign up. And how do you do that? You go to www.nomorems.com. Scroll down a little bit. You'll see where it says subscribe. Put in your name and your email address. That will automatically make you a subscriber, and you will get every bit of information that I send out, including all the information on the Heart Talk call. And all kinds of updates from Dr. Cartwright and everything, all the great stuff that we do put out. So with that, once again, Toretta, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your story. And Dr. Cartwright, I know that we've got a lot more information to go on this webinar, which we are calling Mysteries of the Cerebellum. So let me turn it back over to you, sir.
Okay, Sue Ellen. As you know, we went through a little practice session.
We did.
And everything worked just fine. And in the middle of this presentation, for whatever reason, which I can't explain, the microphone that I was using changed.
Uh-oh.
It automatically. Don't ask me how or why. I'll need to ask one of these computer gurus how that happened. But anyway.
Oh, yes, indeed.
You know you're on the right track when there are a lot of things trying to keep you from doing what needs to be done.
Well, did we record, or are we still recording? My screen says we are.
We're still recording, and that's good.
Okay, good.
Okay, Toretta talked about the supplements, and let me make this clear. First of all, we don't advocate anybody going off of their disease-modifying agents. We say continue those, but based on our experience, when you take the essentials, when you put the heat and sink on, and when you take the Morologic, you and your symptoms improve. That's what we say. And we have good evidence of that. So whether you're taking a disease-modifying agent or not taking a disease-modifying agent, you can get better with the 3 products that are showing now. Okay? Now let's continue on. So, this cerebellum is involved in cognition, but the important thing is, as indicated in this article, this cerebellum is involved with enhancing both functional and structural brain plasticity. All that plasticity means is reorganization to get better if something has been lost. That's all that means. Okay? And in the second article, they've done some tests on this. And it says the identification of an effective intervention for improving the acquisition of information into long-term memory would likely be of great benefit to persons with MS. That's what they say. And I saw that, I thought, wow, that comes right along with a book that I have sent in to the federal government to be copyrighted, and it's called Memory Improving Reading Book. Memory Improving Reading Book. And in that book, you will read your way to better memory. You know how you exercise, and that's beneficial. You can lift weights, you can go walking, you can crawl, whatever you do to exercise, okay? Then this book says, you know, if you read, you can get better. That's what it says. And actually, I won't tell you how long it took me to get this book completed. I started it in 1988. That's a long time. And here we are. Now, in this article, at the top, it says, new nerve cells or neurons are generated in the hippocampus. That is the organ where memory takes place. And each day in their survival is greatly enhanced through learning that requires effort. So in the memory improving reading book, you're learning something new, but it requires some effort on your part. It requires effort. And when you do that, you are generating new nerve cells in that structure called the hippocampus that is responsible for getting things into memory. And not only that, the number of cells produced can also be increased by both mental and physical exercise training. And that's why I say exercise plus read equals birth of new nerve cells. And that brings us to the Q&A session. All right?
All right. All right, Dr. Cartwright, let me just tell everybody, I know there are questions out there. You've got to type them in for me. Right now, we don't have any questions, but I've got one for you. So while I'm talking, oh, here comes one. Let me ask you first, though, before we go to Judith. Where can they get this book?
Oh.
This is an amazing book. And by the way, everybody, I've sort of had a behind-the-scenes sneak peek look at what's in this book. Amazing. You're going to want to check it out. You're going to want to get this book. How can they get it, Dr. Cartwright?
Okay, currently we're working on getting it where you can download it, but that's not completed yet.
Mm-hmm.
But the only way they will only way they can get this book now is they have to go through you and your challenge people. This book is designed for people who want to get better and who is willing to spend the time to do so. And we know it works based on the research that's published out there on on doing these sort of things. So initially, they got to go through Sue Ellen. The price of the book is only $19.95, not that much. But when they go through you, we give them a break because, as you know, what we do on MS Challenge is that we keep good records, and you got a good scheme going, and you got a good habit going, and this works right in. So when they get up in the morning and check their temperatures, they can go right into practicing the contents of the book.
Mm-hmm.
And it only takes about 15 minutes a day, and then you know things are getting done. So currently they got to go through you.
All right, awesome. And by the way, let me just throw this in, sort of as a fun remark. It is fun. I mean, I found it challenging in a really good way, but fun. I thought it was great, and I still enjoy doing it. Everybody, it's pretty cool. You're going to like it. And once again, let me tell you to get on the mailing list for Heart Talk and about the MS Challenge team. Let me give you my website and email address once again. It is the website is nomorems.com, as in nomorems.com. You'll scroll down and put in your name and your email address. That will make you a subscriber to all this great information immediately. And if you are interested in the MS Challenge team and you'd like to know more about it, you'd like to talk to me about it, and you want to join, then absolutely send me an email. It's SueEllenDickinson@gmail.com. Once again, that's SueEllenDickinson ELLENDICKINSON at gmail.com. And we have got a question. Dr. Cartwright, we've got two questions. Let's go ahead and take Gail's first. You were talking about exercise, and this is what she wants to know. Gail says, are these specific exercises to do to improve balance? Exercise is proven to improve so many other areas. Are there exercises for improving balance? And that comes from Gail Norris. So there's question number one.
All right, Gail, the answer to that is you will practice, okay, with your legs first. While you're in a chair, you can put weights on your on the top of your knee area and raise those up and down. And then what you got to do is stand up, make sure you hold on to something because your balance may not be as good as it ought to be. Then you got to practice standing on one foot. The left one first, then the right one, then the left one, and keep doing that without fail. Just keep doing it. And remember, to get these things back, it takes a while. You didn't get MS overnight, but you got to be persistent, and you will get better because it takes balance to stand on one foot. Or it takes balance to do what? Stand up on both feet, close your eyes, and see how long you can do that without swaying. If you continue to practice these simple exercises, your balance will get better. Practice makes perfect. Okay?
That's awesome. Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right. Now, you may have, partly answered that question that's next, that's coming from Sheila. Sheila says, how long will you be required to exercise or exerread before an improvement may be noted? How long?
About 6 weeks when you see some slow improvement. You'll see it. And then that will encourage you to continue on. But depending on your overall makeup, your genes, depending on your diet, depending on your age, depending on your lifestyle, and depending on your environment that's going on around you, it may take a little longer or a little less. So you have to consider all of these things. There are many factors that enter into this process. So you got to be patient with yourself. If you want to see some improvement overnight, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I can tell you that up front. But what we do know is this. You stay at it, you'll improve. And what's wrong with improving your quality of life? Just stay at it. Let's stay at it. You got more time on your hands than you can shake 10 sticks at. 24 hours a day, so forth and so on. So, stay at it.
All right, awesome. And Dr. Cartwright, would you agree that we see this constantly on the MS Challenge team? Because every member, and Toretta also pointed this out in her commentary a bit earlier, that everybody is really, well, everybody's different. We're all the same, but we have differences, and we certainly are, at a different level or stage of being with this MS. And so I think that makes a lot of common sense. Okay, the questions are coming in now. So, guys, go ahead and keep typing them in, all right? I'm going to try and keep up here. All right, we've got one from Toretta. She's next in line. She's next up. Dr. Cartwright, do you think dancing is a benefit? She's dancing now. Toretta is dancing. Do you think that's a benefit?
Oh, Toretta, I need to package you. I need to package you.
I love it. Guys, from a wheelchair to the dance floor, huh? How can you beat that?
There's something intuitive about Toretta. I don't know what it is. But she, once she makes her mind up about something, she stays with it. The answer to, is dancing beneficial? Dancing is wonderful. I'll say that again.
Hmm.
Dancing is wonderful. Put on some music and
And
start
the high
dancing.
heels,
And
and the high heel
no,
shoes.
well, it depends on where you are and where you are. Start dancing.
Yeah,
Even
there you,
if you are in a chair and you can't stand up yet, just dance in that chair and you will slowly but surely get better. Number one, remember on a previous slide we talked about that the cerebellum is involved in your hearing acoustics. That's what's going on. And pretty soon you'll slowly but surely get better. So Toretta, my hat is off to you. Keep dancing. It's a great thing.
it's,
I got a package Toretta.
we got to do that.
Yeah.
What a beautiful thing, Dr. Cartwright. You know, we're seeing these success stories just come out. It's amazing. I mean, she's gone from wheelchair to dance floor. Does it get any better than that, guys? Wow. I mean, talk about, you know, being an improvement group, which you coined that phrase, Dr. Cartwright, and I love it. You know, the MS improvement group. And we know it's a challenge. That's why it's called the challenge team. And we are a team, we're a family. But, and we invite each and every one of you. If you make the commitment, if you're willing to work with us, we will work with you. And you've got our word on that. And you know, people like Toretta are living proof, living examples that this does happen. All right,
Well,
let's move on. Go ahead. Go
okay,
ahead.
now go. I just want to make a statement
Mm-hmm.
um, on that slide with the Heart Talk and MS
Yes.
Challenge. We have to tell you up front, just by participating in Heart Talk and you stay there, you will get better.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason being is it is social interacting that is of benefit. Social interacting.
Dr. Cartwright, let me just stop you right there. Hold that thought, please, because we were we were teaching the body, mind, and spirit long before you ran across that research. But now the scientists and the research gurus, they're all coming out and saying what you just said. Isn't that right? It's coming to the surface. It's coming to the forefront that the body, mind, and spirit, the social interacting that you're talking about here, is crucial to our physical well-being. Isn't that amazing?
Well, it's true, but if you recall, this human body of ours has been on the planet for about 4.5 million years and evolving,
Hmm.
and we as humans learned over the time that if you socially interact, it's better for you. It's better for your health. Socially interaction.
Hmm.
But then when you have MS, you got something else going on. Why not do something else to get better? It's all about getting better. And I'm glad you mentioned that this MS improvement group.
Hmm.
I heard you did. I know I picked it up. You said,
I did.
uh,
That's what we are.
I,
That's what we are.
I know, but early on, you called it a support group. And as you know, as I was listening to
Oh,
what
no,
you
no, no.
guys were saying, no, way back, it's
Did
recorded.
I? Okay. All right. I see. I'm
It's
recorded.
hard to get away from old habits. I can attest to that. But this is an MS improvement group, MSIG. That's what you got to take away here.
Yeah. Yeah.
MS improvement group. Okay?
Got it.
All right, let's take another question.
Yeah. I'm going to read this, Nancy. I'm going to read your comment here. My focus on this webinar is very stressful. It stops too long and then it goes too fast. I seem to have lost the audio as well. What do I do? I don't know, Nancy. I don't understand whether it's the system on this end or maybe something, possibly the connectivity, you know, back to your computer. I don't know. But let me just say, I don't know how to fix that. but when the replay comes out, that might be easier for you to listen to. Is anyone else having the problem that Nancy is having? If so, maybe you could just write yes or no in the question box, whatever, just kind of give us an idea, because I really don't know what exactly it is. But we'll be mindful of that. Okay, Myrna and Judith are saying no. Okay. Yeah, okay.
Well,
Other people are hearing it, okay, so
okay.
it could be a satellite thing. You know, it could be anything.
That could be it, or it could be that they have updated her computer. And as my son Scott told me, an update is always a down date.
Wiser words were never spoken, Scott. Thank you. All right, let's move on to the next question. Pascal says, I had a hip replacement that was a recall due to, oh dear, you know how I am with these big words, metallosis, and it attacked my nervous system. The technology, doctor said, it mimics MS. What's your thought on this? I'm confused.
Well, first of all, listen to your doctor, because they were there during the surgery and they know what goes on in that kind of hip replacement. So listen to them. But the important thing is, no matter what you have gone through, the things that we are talking about are helpful. They are helpful. You have to start out with where you are now, forget the past, okay, and then work on getting better. Work on getting better. And you can do that if you think about getting better, if you do the things to get better. They call it self-efficacy. In other words, the things to really, really get better are in your hands. Okay, Pascal? All right. Next
All right,
question.
thank you. Yeah, and thank you, Pascal, for that question. The next one comes from Myrna. Can I take Dr. Cartwright's pills without taking the MS pills?
Yes. Oh, you mean can you take it without or along with?
Well, let me just read it the way she's got it. Can I just take Dr. Cartwright's pills without taking the MS pills?
You can do it either way you want to do it. But here it is. Make sure you keep a good journal. Make sure you write down what's going on with you from day to day. Okay? We don't suggest stopping your MS pills. We say there's something that you can do that is beneficial to you along with those disease-modifying agents. Exercise is beneficial. Exercise is beneficial. So when you physically exercise and mentally exercise, that's beneficial to you.
Okay, Myrna, did we get that right? I see you wrote okay back. Thank you for that. I hope we hit the nail on the head with that for you. Okay. All right. Okay, good. I see you, Myrna. Thank you. Thank you for answering. Yep, we did. Thank you, Dr. Cartwright. Okay. Next question. Oops, almost lost it. It's from Judith. Can cartilage be regrown? Cartilage.
Oh, you would come up with that one. That one is way out on a limb.
Oh, is it? Okay.
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 And this is one of those situations where I would say, why don't you try to do that and see what happens? Okay?
Regrow cartilage?
Yes. You don't know whether you have those stem cells still available to you.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see. I see.
You see? Once
Gotcha.
you shut down many things, one of which is the inflammation and the oxidative stress, then it could be, I say could be, that those cartilage stem cells will wake up and do their job. But the only way to find out is to try. And as my mom used to tell me, and my dad too, nothing beats a try but a failure. But you gotta try first.
That's right.
Okay?
That's what this is all about.
That's what.
Yeah, she wrote back and she said this is her hip. So I'm sure that all applies. Everything you said, applies to her hip.
That's exactly right. We're talking about body, mind, and spirit.
It all works together, doesn't it?
That's right.
And
Exactly right.
as I said before, it seems as though in this world that we're living in today, so much of everything is just focused on the body. We tend to forget about the mind and the spirit, but it's right there. All three are together. They're interconnected, and they all work together, whether we believe it or not, whether we like it or not, whether we know it or not. It's true, and that is what we're focusing on here, guys. Both in Heart Talk and the MS Challenge. Yes, go ahead, please.
Somewhere I read, the questions were, where would the heart be without the knee? And where would the knee be without the finger? And where would the foot be without the eyes? They
Very
all
interesting.
work together.
They do. They do. Wow. Do we have any more questions? Anybody have any more questions for Dr. Cartwright? Now's your chance. Type it in so I can see it. We can ask him. Okay, here comes one. Okay, Pascal. Pascal's up to bat again. Okay, what do you think? What you think about how people healed themselves with diet? What's your thoughts on the Terry Wahls protocol?
Well, there's no doubt that Terry Wahls has great ideas. No doubt about that. And the other part about Terry is that she was having a real problem with her MS, and then she set about doing what? Trying to improve herself. And so she did. So Terry Wahls there's no doubt about that. She has a good program. Okay? But even if you go with Terry Wahls, okay, this weekly um, program that Sue Ellen has, that Hard Talk, that would be beneficial to you. So it's not just one thing. It's not just one thing. And if you look on the label of the More Logic and the Essentials, those two things that you consume have many, many ingredients. And then if you add those that you put on your skin with the heat and sink, you have a lot of different things being addressed. And keep in mind, we talk about the heat and sink. Why is that? Why are you addressing that? The skin of the body is derived from the same cells in utero. So what affects the brain can affect the skin and vice versa. That's right. And one of the things that we have to do, of all the things that we do, we have to help the body control the heat. We have to help that body do that if you have a problem with heat. You may not know it. It may be going on in the background. So don't say, well, it's not going on now, therefore I'm okay. Not necessarily so.
We've got questions coming in quickly.
Okay.
All right, let's move on.
All right, let's move.
We're starting to run out of time. So guys, please, if you have a question, type it in right now. Okay. First of all, Judith is back and says, Fabulous webinar. Thank you, Dr. Cartwright. So, thank you. And Judith, I'll bet you speak for everybody listening. I know me too. It's just amazing information. But Sheila has to say here, her question, why does the cerebellum have such an impact on pain? And what causes it to dysfunction? Great question, Sheila.
Well, that was part of the discovery. The cerebellum has so many cells, 69 billion cells, so it's involved in all that we do. Why the human body designed it that way, they don't know. What they do know is that it's involved with it. To get into the molecular structures that are involved in pain, you have to first start with the DNA, start with your genes, start with the interaction with the environment. It goes on and on and on. You're talking about several thousand slides. But here it is. One of the assistant NIH directors made this statement, and I misplaced his name. He said, "It is difficult to argue with an endpoint, even if you don't know the mechanism of action." We don't know. But what we do know is when that cerebellum starts to function, some people will start having problems with pain. Okay? So even if we don't know the mechanism of action, you can't argue with an endpoint, and that is, in this case, the endpoint is the presence of pain when the cerebellum is malfunctioning, and the pain gets better when the cerebellum starts to function better. All right?
Okay, sounds good. All right, let's move on to Heather. Heather says, I missed how we order the book. So very excited we can recover neurons this way.
Currently, we're working on trying to get the book to be downloaded so you can just push a button on your computer. So, and we're trying to get someone who's willing to publish it for us at a reasonable price. But currently, we're going to have it in a PDF file, and the only way you can get it is through Sue Ellen right now. But if you go through her group, you get it at a discounted price. So that's how you can get it. But you'll check with Sue Ellen because I'll let her know when everything is really available, and you can go from there.
Okay, Heather? All right, so email me, and anybody else, if you want to email me for information on that, on the MS Challenge, or anything, any other question, send me an email, SueEllenDickinson@gmail.com. That's SueEllenDickinson@gmail.com. Okay, moving along. Here's another question from Judith. Does the heat and sink help with cold as well as heat?
Yes. I think, Sue Ellen, you and I, we gave a webinar on that.
We did.
Over a year ago.
Yep.
And
yep.
We presented a slide that showed that the temperature, heat is present all the way down to minus 453 degrees Fahrenheit, and you can work all the way up. And if you have a problem with coldness, just start using it and keep using it, and over time you will get better. And if I recall, I'm not sure, but I'm not going to let Toretta back on. We'll be here another hour or two. But anyway, if I recall,
we're running out of time.
Yeah, we're running out of time. Toretta had a problem with temperature, with low temperatures.
Mm-hmm.
And when we told her, here, put this heating sink on. And the good part is she followed the recommendation, and she is better now.
Yeah, you heard it, everybody. She's gone from wheelchair to the dance floor. Wow, it's amazing, just amazing. All right, we've got to keep moving here. Day has a question. I'm having trouble staying hydrated because I can't drink enough liquid a day to keep me going. What is recommended?
Well, first of all, how much liquid do you drink a day?
Day, do you want to type that in for me? Be specific. Okay, I don't see her coming back yet. Wait a minute. Yeah. Okay, she's not back. Go ahead,
Okay.
Dave. We've got to keep moving because
All right.
we are running out of time and the questions are coming in.
Well, the first thing you got to consider is number one, are you drinking enough fluids or water? 8
Right.
glasses or more a day. That's number one. Number two, are you getting rid of those fluids by bladder? If so, as indicated earlier on one of those slides, the cerebellum could be involved with bladder control. Okay? So you have to start out little steps. As Toretta said, baby steps. And then keep going and see what happens. All right?
Okay, good. Here is a very, very, oh gosh, this is a heart-wrenching question, but I can see, okay, this is from Sherry. In 1986, I lost a 10-day-old baby to hydrocephalus, and he never moved on his own, even while I was pregnant with him. The NATO neurologist made reference to his brain being totally consumed by water, and all that was left really was his brainstem. Could his problem have anything to do with my MS?
Whoa, that is a
I
real
know. Oh
great
God,
question.
I've got tears in my eyes
All
over that
right,
one.
I know.
Terry,
I feel
bless you,
for her.
bless you.
Okay? But here's what we know is that there is crosstalk between mother and child in the womb. That child is not in just in there without any crosstalk between mother and child. Those uh, the death of those cells had to be what? Consumed, die off, and then how do you get rid of that? Through the mother's system. So, in other words, it could be, but it is so rare, no one ever looks into it. No one ever looks into it because that's rare what your child went through. The other thing is you have to consider the DNA of what was going on with the child. It gets really complicated, but the bottom line is it could be, but I'm not aware of any publications on that aspect. And at the current time, going through or trampling through 120,000 or 200,000 articles to try to find something that's been printed on the subject, I don't have that kind of time. So the answer to that is yes, it could be, but I don't know. All right?
Good. Sherry, I hope that helps. I hope that helps. And we are almost out of time. We're going to have to say goodbye in just a couple of minutes. But one last question, guys. The cold, this is from Myrna. The cold affects me terribly, and not the heat. Can heat and sink help me? I think you've answered this already, but let's see what you've got to say.
I say it could, but it's not just one thing. we have to consider, as I think I mentioned it earlier, we have to consider your genes and DNA. We have to consider your diet. We have to consider your age. We have to consider your lifestyle. And we have to consider the environment. You got to put all of those things on the table and look at correcting what's not being corrected. And then, um, and then once you do that, add the heating sink to what you're doing. And what's wrong with finding out?
That's for sure. That's for
Find
sure.
out.
There's only one way to find out, and that's put in the effort that you're talking
That's
about.
right. Put in the
And
effort.
that's what it's all about.
That's
That's what
the
it's all
only
about.
way to find out.
Yep.
So,
Guys, we are out of time. Dr. Cartwright, do you want to make a closing statement or anything like that? Because we are flat out of time here, sir.
no, I'm going to give you the last word.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for being with us. Dr. Cartwright, you come on these webinars. And by the way, he will come on Heart Talk occasionally. He oversees what we're doing with the MS Challenge team. It's amazing. Where else are you guys going to find this? I don't know. Maybe you do. I don't. But I know it is a gift to each and every one of us. And Dr. Cartwright, I want to thank you for the effort that you have put into not just this webinar, the mysteries of the cerebellum, but all of the work that you do. I want to thank you, not only for me, but on behalf of everybody who knows you and works with you. And we stand on your shoulders, Dr. Cartwright, and it's because of you. And I want to thank you for your generous gift of time. Especially today, because what you're bringing us, the answers, true answers that you're giving us, not only are groundbreaking that we said in the beginning, but they're life-changing. And with that, I want to once again invite all of you to join us on the Heart Talk call every Tuesday morning, and also think seriously about becoming a member of the MS Challenge team, because we're all seeing improvements. And so much of that, I give credit to Dr. Cartwright. Once again, my contact information to get on my mailing list so you can get up-to-the-minute, up-to-date information, go to my website to sign up for that. And that is www.nomorems.com. Just fill in your name, email address, hit the subscribe button, and you're on. And also, if you'd like to know more about the MS Challenge, send me an email. I am Sue Ellen Dickinson, and that's what the email address is, SueEllenDickinson@gmail.com, SueEllenDickinson@gmail.com. And I want to thank all of you for being here. Each and every one of you, you're just a blessing to us. We really are. You really are to us, and we thank you for being here and for participating in this webinar today. It really is fascinating. Mysteries of the Cerebellum. I just love that title. It's great. And so much more to learn, so much more coming your way in terms of new information from Dr. Cartwright. And it is my honor and privilege and pleasure to host this webinar with you today. So once again, thank you for being here. Dr. Cartwright, hats off to you. We do, sir, stand on your shoulders. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being the rock that you are, the foundation for all of this, for your efforts, your research. And again, thank you for your gift of time to us. And with that, we're going to say goodbye. Goodbye for now. Once again, send your questions, your comments, anything you like to me at the email address, SueEllenDickinson@gmail.com. So until next time, everybody, thanks for being here. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful week ahead, and I hope to hear from you soon. And with that, we'll say goodbye for now. You take care. Bye-bye.